he's the complete opposite of what we want it to be. Why is it our job now, right? Because we can't pick a leader to do it. And I'm gonna get short politics real quick. Had we had Hillary Clinton, and this is to the people in the United States, had she won the election, people would have been happy that a female had won. Other people would have been unhappy because, well, there's two sides to everything, right? But would that have made the big push? Would there have been a million woman march had Hillary Clinton won? Probably not, sadly to say. There wouldn't have been that celebration. But when someone like our current president in the United States wins, it stirs something up in us. And for those of us that may not be happy with that, it strikes a chord. And what we have to look at is, what chord is that striking? And then I have to go in as a man and be like, I disrespect this person. I don't agree with what he's done. But why am I offended by it? Anyone want to answer that? Why Anton Mackey is offended by what Donald Trump says and does? Go ahead. Because he's my mirror. Sick as that sounds. Because there's something in him that still lives inside of me, whether it's anger or disrespect, and that lack of consciousness obviously is in me because I see it, and I have to face that. And as a man, it is our responsibility to look at every situation in the world and see, where am I lacking? Where am I lacking the consciousness? Where am I lacking being present, being stable, being protected, being strong? And where am I seeing that in others? Because that's how we see it, right? I see this beautiful child in front of me. You're gorgeous, and you look happy, and is this your father? Nope. You're just stoked with this guy, right? So I see beauty, I see joy, I see peace, because that's what I have inside of me. But when I see someone who's a dictator, and I see anger and fear and sexism, I have to own that there's still part of that inside of me. And it's that ownership of my lacking, so that I can then step up and see where I need to make the change. Right? And this is for the feminine. Because right now, this is another aspect of when it comes to relationships. I like to joke like this. If you look at, has anyone studied David Data? Can you raise your hands, David Data? So David Data. He's done extensive study and research and work on, he wrote the book called The Way of the Superior Man. Okay? So if you've never read that book, if you know a man, suggest it to them. The Way of the Superior Man talks about the 3 stages of the masculine. And this kind of carries on throughout. And the 3 stages of the feminine. These stages aren't set in stone, but it's these ideas of what the masculine is. And we have this lower level of masculine, right? And it's exactly what you think it to be. The over, chest pumping, violence, wanting to exert his power over everything, wanting to come very quickly because he's horny and has an erection, right? These uncomfortable things. This is that man that's very insecure. That's lower level, and he usually wears it as an exterior of insecurities. It's insecurities being worn with whatever it is. And I do this just because I'm a little dude, and I don't know, I think big guy, that's right. And you can stereotype it however you want. I used to stereotype it with the guy that's super big and has a big truck and has gun racks and stuff. And that was my perception of what this lower level masculine is. And that's not to say that if you have a big truck, if you are a big dude, if you have muscles, if you have guns, that you are that. But that was my perception. So that then is also a reflection of me. The second level of man is what we probably see in this community here, a very sensitive, and it happened in the 60s, right? Where men started growing their hair, started wearing drapey clothing, dancing in ways that were not acceptable in the 50s, and the men then decided to take on a more feminine role, which the world needed, right? Because the feminine is, we haven't even discussed what that is, but the feminine is the love, it's the light bearers. And the men decided, wait a minute, this feels fantastic. I want to dance, I want to move, I want my hair to grow, and I want to cry, and I want to express my emotion. And that's great and all, to a certain extent, right? That's the second level of the man. And the first stage of masculinity is a man who, and he says it like this is beautiful. A lower level is, I need a woman so I can control her. Second level is, I don't need a woman, I can be free on my own. And the third is, and when I say woman, I meant feminine. Because again, this could be 2 men, 1 masculine, 1 feminine, 2 women, 1 masculine, 1 feminine. I need the feminine so that I can feel complete and whole. Having my feminine counterpart will make me a better version of myself and will show me myself in ways that I cannot see alone. and will uplift me to be the best version of me. And that's how it works both ways, right? So the lower level feminine would be what? Insecure, housewife, this is all you do, your voice doesn't count, right? All this nonsense that for thousands of years has been suppressed upon women by men. That's another thing I need to get back to. Second stage is, well, man, right? I don't need him. I'm a corporate woman, I can get this shit done, and this has happened big time lately. Why? Why has this second stage feminine developed? Why have women now stepped into this role of being these powerhouses, these corporate leaders, these ball busters? Why? What's that? Stability. The lack of stability found on their masculine counterpart. They can't trust the masculine to be there for them, to do that for them. So you know what? I'm going to be the single mom. I'm going to work a job. I'm also going to go to yoga class every day. My kids are going to get good grades. I'm going to do it all. And then I'm going to change the world. All of that. That's a lot of pressure on the women. And you know where you feel that pressure in your body? It ends up being in your hamstring. Has anyone heard of the yoga butt? We kind of call it the yoga butt. It's where you get that deep hamstring tightness. It's like right here. It feels kind of like your butt. It's the soreness in your butt, and you do like Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose, and it just kills your hamstring. That hamstring attachment, the hamstring is being overstretched because of the upper back being out of balance. The upper back is affected by the neck and the traps, and our traps are where we carry this idea of perfection. And women have been put in this position to think that you have to do it all. And I am sorry, personally. Okay, I take the blame. Me and my 7 generations before me, because I'm living 7 generations of karma in my cellular level. We all are, right? Of my father. So I had a really beautiful discussion with my father recently. I'm tangenting, and it's going to happen. He brought my grandfather was a war vet, somewhat racist, typical man. He loved my grandmother, took care of her, but he's a typical man. He didn't show affection to anybody. My father turned into this kind of hippie, right, women's rights, anti-war, anti-guns. He went the other direction. So my father was the first level of this 7 generations of getting rid of racism, of getting rid of sexism from my DNA. I'm the second. My 2 sons are the third. I've got 4 more generations of my bloodline to get the cellular level of racism and sexism out of my body. So as men, we have to own the fact that it's in our DNA. Okay? So now it's in our DNA, that means it can come up and we can react, and I can look at Donald Trump and get angry, and then I have to recognize that it's in my DNA, and I do the work with myself or with my son to get rid of it. But that's because we failed the female, and the women had to step up. And that pressure to be perfect actually plants itself on your neck and your shoulders, and then your back gets out of alignment, then your hips get out of alignment, and then one hamstring gets stretched more than the other, and then your hamstring attachment goes, because guess what? In a yoga class, you try to perfect the pose because that's what you were told to do, especially in a yoga that comes from a masculine tradition. You try to perfect the pose and make it even and better, and it doesn't work anymore, and your body says, I can't do this. I can't handle the pressure of trying to save the world alone. I need the masculine counterpart. And we failed you, so it's our job to step up. First level feminine, I don't need a man or the masculine, but I know having the masculine is going to make me more complete. I'm going to be able to blossom into the beauty creative being that is here to serve the world with love and to change the world. And that's where we're at, right? And we have to look at ourselves and say, where am I on this chart? Am I falling into the second stage where I'm being overly sensitive? And I can speak from experience. I was married to an incredible woman. She's a dear friend of mine and my partner's right now. And she was the masculine, decision making, and I dropped into the feminine. My confidence wasn't there. If I sat around, it was probably more like this. When it came to making decisions, it was, honey, what would you want for dinner tonight? How does that feel, right? Or, are you in the mood to make love tonight? Not with me, that's for sure. She's not, if you have that happen. And that's a really cool thing to see, is your dynamic with your partner. Again, male, woman, doesn't matter. How is your dynamic with them? Because what the feminine is looking for is decision making. We're going to do, so what I get to do now is I get to practice with my partner, my current partner. Honey, we're going to have Mexican food for dinner tonight. No, I'm not really in the mood for it. Okay, I'm going to make spaghetti. We had spaghetti last night. Okay, we're going to go get Chinese. I'm not in the mood for Chinese. And I just keep going. I give a precise direction until she decides what she needs. Right? Instead of me like, well, what do you want? And then I've lost her. Or the lovemaking situation. If she comes home from She just got a break. She got away from the kids for an hour, and she comes home, and I'm like, "Are you in the mood to have sex tonight?" She's like, "Not anymore." Right? Because in no way does that make you feel like you want to be taken. But if she walks to the door and I grab her and I pull her in and I give her a big kiss and say, I'm gonna make love to you right now. Do you think she's gonna deny it? No. Now she's got cramps, she's not feeling good. She can still be like, "Oh, I appreciate that offer. I feel you coming to me from that space of love and from your highest masculine, but right now I'm not feeling good." And then what can I do? I can react in two ways. I can drop down into my, "Oh, poor me, she doesn't like me, I'm not good enough. I'm not sexy to her right now." I'll create any story you want, dropping into second level. I can drop even lower and be like, "Yes, you are. You're going to have sex with me because that's what I say. We're having sex now." And both of which I've lost her. Or I can stay in my highest sense and say, "Okay, I showed up how I need to show up. I'm feeling these feelings of wanting to have sex with my partner or be intimate with her. And I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to put it somewhere else." And where does that energy go? In your heart, right? We have this endless vastness of space to hold things. And if the energy of sex or anger is not working, we put it in the heart and it dissolves. And I hold that in my heart for her so that when she is in the mood and I can feel that from her, I know when to say, "Hey, it's time." Grab her and give her that kiss, and then she's like, "Yes, please take me." So it's that blossoming, so allowing her to be the flower that she's meant to be, because the flowers are changing the world today, right? It's not the power, it's not the tanks, it's not the struggle that comes from the masculine. DNA, I covered that. Any thoughts about that on the 7